country melted to zero. So you understand the dangers that we are facing today. We need to educate our people. And let me tell you, a hungry person to be manipulated is very easy. The performance of our economy has caused our young people to be manipulated very easily. We do not have a lot of time for prolonged discourse. We have time to go to the ground, educate our young men and women, let them understand we do not have another country. And that is only possible if we remove selfishness out of this leadership. Some of them amongst us. We must agree we have to go forward as a united front for the sake of this country. Now, if you refuse to play your role because it must be you, you are just as an enemy as the enemy you are discussing here, because you are not offering a solution. You must agree to play whatever role you will be given as a leader for the sake of the unity of our country. Munga will not provide employment tomorrow if we have chaos in this country. Neither will Mwangi carry Kenyans to DRC for them to look at business opportunities if there are chaos in this country tomorrow. You are here because you are scared something wrong is happening. Way forward. Let us go to the ground. You people must never have a preferred candidate. Let all of us work as a team, and at the right time, Kenyans will see who is this so qualified to take us through this very risky period. I want to urge all of you, and the problem is coming from the mountain, don't have preferred candidates. I have told you, as a community, we have demonstrated many times that we can vote for any Kenyan. What do you expect us to feel as a community if you come fronting somebody else who maybe has just voted for you once, not because he wanted to vote for you, but circumstances forced him to vote for you? And us who voted for you because we believed in you, we are treated like these ones are cheap. After all, they are divided. They'll just come and vote for us. Musiwe na wale mnapendelea. Na sisi tuko tayari kufanya kazi pamoja. Na wale ambao wako nje na wale ambao wamekaa hapa. This team is a demonstration of ability to work together. Sisi tuko hapa team. Ile nyingine mlikuwa naye hata kubwa zaidi, ilikuwa mtu mmoja. Timu ilikuwa nani? So nani anapenda umoja? Ni hawa au ni wengine? Kwa hivyo nawaomba muwe wa kweli kwa roho zenu. Msichukue kiza kimoja mkifanye kionekane ndio cha maana zaidi. Ati wote tulishikana mikono. Hapana. Sisi tuliwapigia pila kushikana mkono. The Luyas were a majority in voting in Kibaki, more than Central Province. We did not have a handshake. We are willing Raila to be our president tomorrow if the program is fair. You must be willing Musalia or Kalonzo or Gideon to be a president tomorrow, because all of them are being treated equally and fairly. Musikuja na preferred candidate, mutaharibu. Mutaharibu kabisa. And that's all I came to tell you. Mungu awabariki.
All right. Na sasa, asante United Congress Party, wewe unaongea mambo ya unity. Mwisho kabisa, we are here to listen to all of you, to listen to all the leaders, alafu tutaamua. We have not made a decision as yet. Kwa hivyo usiwe na wasiwasi. Usiwe na wasiwasi. Kwa sasa, next year, the party leader of Ford Kenya, none other than the famous Senator Wetangula Weta, mara moja.
Hamjambo wote, hamjambo tena. God is good and all the time. My good friend Peter Munga and the foundation you lead, Titus, and all the hosts of today. My colleagues from OKA, our members of parliament, and the many leaders here assembled, including a strong team from the mountain. We are here to engage. And to engage, we must free ourselves, think openly, freely. Barack Obama said, you cannot shake hands with a clenched fist. We'll shake hands with open arms. And we are happy that you invited us. You invited us to talk to us and us to talk to you. And this kind of engagement is critically important for a public discourse and conversation in this country. I want to tell you, our Mount Kenya brothers and sisters, don't live in fear, don't fear to live, because this is your country. And this country belongs to all of us. When Bwana Waigwa was talking, he mentioned about people from Mount Kenya who are out there in the Kenyan diaspora. Bwana Waigwa, in Nzoia, the ruling party is Ford Kenya, led by yours truly. And among the CEC members, we have a young girl from Kiambu as a minister in Nzoia. In embracing other Kenyans and actualizing the constitution, that devolution did not balkanize our country, but enhanced diversity and unity. And we'll continue doing that. In 2007, 2008, when this country was on fire, when people were running helter-skelter, the county I represent of Bungoma became a refuge for the people from Mount Kenya. They moved in, settled in 2 months. We had more than 10,000 Mount Kenya origin residents moving into Bungoma. They acquired property, they invested. They live very happily with us. And you Mount Kenya brothers and sisters are very lucky. You have produced 3 presidents for our great republic. And I'm very happy, Bwana Munga and your team, that this time round you've come to a very positive realization that this country has many communities, many regions, and is desirable to rotate and share opportunities of leadership. What you are telling us, and we agree with you, is if it comes your way, what do you do with it? What do you do for us? What ring fencing will you give to our country? Not to any individual, because I believe that an opportunity available to a Mount Kenya citizen in this country must be equally available to an El Molo in Loyangalani, must be equally available to somebody from Kwale, from Iteso, from everywhere. That is the Kenya we want. Today, when you go to our homes, most of our children don't speak what we commonly call mother tongue. They have just one language, English or Swahili, and they're just Kenyans. Sheng is a corruption of one of the two. We want to build a country where opportunities are available to everybody, regardless of your background. I just came from US yesterday, and I met a gentleman from Meru in a Kenyan convocation in Los Angeles. And he showed me a deep wound and crack on his head. And he told me, I was hit on the streets of Nairobi when we were fighting for the Constitution. I was locked up. I fled the country. I will not come back. I told him, please, if you want to come back, Kenya is different. Today, we are fighting with ideas, not with the stones, not with the sticks, and God forbid, not with guns. The Kenya we want is the Kenya we must create. There are no angels that will descend on our country to create our country. It is us. Like Kennedy said, don't ask what your country is doing for you. Ask yourself, what are you doing for your country? And we look at Mr. Munga here. He created Equity Bank from a microfinance to the largest bank in this country and in this region. We must salute him. And Julius Nyerere once said, these Chinese, they're 1 billion. They produce enough food, feed themselves, and give us some as aid. Surely they must have something for us to learn from them. So when you look at Mr. Munga, surely there must be something we can learn from him. And that he has given us his quality time to sit here and talk about our country is something worth to behold. And we as OKA come to you, the Mount Kenya brothers and sisters, to tell you that we believe in equity, we believe in freedom, we believe in hard work, and we believe in just rewards for hard work. You have the right people with you. Don't worry about us coming in a big number. In fact, in social life, there's security in numbers. So when you see 4 or 5 of us, don't worry. At some point, there will be the first among equals. And the first among equals will not be exalted because he's the first. He will be a person of humility, acceptability, and above all, the vision and the mission to change this country. We have walked a journey. I have also a story to tell about my relationship with Mzee Kibaki. I'm sure you from Mount Kenya know that in 2007, without me and Mother Karua, who are with Mzee Kibaki, hii kitu ingeenda. Munajua, mzee alikuwa amezingirwa. Mimi na msichana wenu Mother Karua tulisimama kidete. Mzee Kibaki akanituma nikaenda Ghana, nikaleta chairman wa AU John Kufuor, then the president. Nikarudi, akanituma nikaenda nikaleta Kofi Annan. Nikarudi, wakati mambo ilikuwa imeshindikana kabisa, akaniambia kimbia Tanzania ulete Jakaya Kikwete. Nikaenda. So I also have my own paragraphs and chapters in the history of this country. That when the chips were down, I stood up to be counted. I didn't exalt myself thereafter. I remained what I am. And I do believe in all sincerity that Gideon Moi or Kalonzo or Mudavadi or myself or whoever in our team will be able to be given the mantle to carry. The rest will say it is part of the team. Because, you know, when you go to play football, and me ni mutu ya Arsenali, if you only reward the person who scores, then the goalkeeper will never get a reward. Because the goalkeeper will never have an opportunity to score, but he is guarding the ngome uko nyuma. So everybody is important. There's a saying in my community that your upper lip is a very small portion of your body. But cut it off and stand before a mirror and see how bad you look. So every cog in the wheel counts. And Mount Kenya, here we are with open arms, telling you that come we engage. And as we engage, we want to give you an assurance that never again shall a Kenyan rise against a Kenyan because of politics. You know, the newspaper said many times about Mount Kenya that you are restless, that you are anxious, that you are frightened, that you are fearful. We stand here to tell you, Munga and the team, fear no more. You are in safe hands. And this team, I can tell you, my brothers and sisters from Mount Kenya, we are tested, we are tried, we are proven, we are trusted, and we can deliver. We have a trailblaze of delivery. And I want to tell you that, you know, when we go to the next elections, don't be overawed about what is going to happen. Imbu here said, we want only one thing, peace. And as we talk to you, we want to urge the government of the day, because we are hearing war drums as we go to elections. We are hearing people speaking recklessly about leadership. We are hearing people nearly saying, kama si mimi ipasuke. Those are dangerous people. Those are undesirable people. Those are misfits. And those are people that are not wanted to lead this country. We must be ready to say, if it is not me, my brother is as good as myself. Lakini kama unakimbia unasema, mimi nimechukua, nimeenda nayo, nimefanya nini, unaweza kujigamba, alafu mwisho ujipate taabani. Ninyi ndugu zetu, nikimalizia, nataka kuwaomba. You are the controllers and owners of capital. And I've seen you, Bwana Munga, in the past, support big movements. Don't watch the wind to see if flag inaenda namna gani, because you know us and you know them. If you've made up your mind that you want to work with us, we are ready. If you've made up your mind that you want to walk this journey with us, we are ready. If you made up your mind that we are partners, we are ready. If you made up your mind that for us to have a cake for Kenyans to share, we must bake it together, we are ready. Kila mtu atachangia, ule wa kuni, ule wa unga, ule wa kiberiti, ule wa maji, ule wa sukari, ule wa mwiko, ule wa kijiko, ule wa sahani, kila mtu. Then we'll have a cake on the table. Then we can be able to talk about a one big happy family called Kenya, where nobody is in want, where the mention of a name does not send shivers down the spine of others, and where Kenyans are free to move from Mount Elgon and settle on Mount Kenya and vice versa. From the shores of Lake Victoria to the shores of Indian Ocean and vice versa. Tukifanya hivyo, ndugu zangu, we'll leave a legacy to our children, to our grandchildren, and to generations to come. That is called leaving this world better than you found it. And that is what we must do. I want to end by acknowledging the OKA Secretariat that nobody has mentioned. We have an OKA team here. You can stand up to be acknowledged. The boys and girls that have put us together, and we have supplicated ourselves to them and told them, be our managers, advise us, talk to us, we'll make the decisions as we move forward. Thank you. As a party of Fort Kenya, I also came with my members of parliament who are introduced, but I want to mention Dr. Chris Wamalwa here, the presumptive governor of Nzoia County 2022. My other MPs, there was Nasir Sahal from Wajir, I don't know if she's here, Ferdinand Wanyonyi, Said Hirbai from Galole, Tana River, Majimbo Kalasinga from my constituency. I think some of them have gone back to parliament. I also have a leadership of my party from the mountain. Mama Hadija Mustafa, I don't know if she's here. That young girl is the director of elections of Fort Kenya Party. She comes from Kirinyaga. She's here with Stephen Dungu, chairman of Murang'a. She's here with James Karimi, chairman of Nyeri. She's here with Mohammed, vice chairman of Kirinyaga, and James Wambugu, chairman of Laikipia. We didn't invite everybody because we knew this was a restricted meeting, but those are the few that we have here. I want to end by saying this. Remember the good old song that we used to sing in school? Kanyaga inji yako kwa nguvu na raha. Munaikumbuka? So Mount Kenya and all other Kenyans, kanyaga inji yako kwa nguvu na raha, kwa sababu hilo ni hakikisho la OKA. Na hilo hakikisho tutalitekeleza vilivyo, liwe liwalo, mchana usiku, inyeshe isinyeshe. We will hold you and all other Kenyans, and we will work as your public trustees for the good of this country, to make sure that you matter the same way I matter, because that is the Kenya we must have. Thank you. May God bless you.
Na Senator, makofi tena kwa Senator. Na sasa kiongozi wa Mlembe, the party leader of Amani Congress Party, none other than Musalia Mudavadi. Karibu, makofi.
Mutangalia wega kweliro magana iguru kwa Ngai emwitirie maguta Kenya yothe leo theri ni monekui Mudavadia twike mutongoria witu Kenya yothe leo utheri ni munekui munavandia twike mutongoria witu ANC ithe turenda thayu Kenya yothe munavandia tutongorie ANC tuthure maendeleo munavandi ni mutongoria mwendi andu ANC tuthure maendeleo munavandi ni mutongoria mwendi andu Engineer Maina wa Mae kinyia domereria Kenya yothe.
Asante sana. Okay. Can you applaud that team on my behalf? Thank you so much, ANC fraternity. Thank you so much. Now, let me start by acknowledging the leadership of the Mount Kenya Foundation, who have taken an extraordinary step in the current political dispensation to bring together Kenyans and parties for serious dialogue. Chairman Munga, Vice Chair Ibui, the directors, and all others who are associated with Mount Kenya Foundation, well done. This initiative is important because it is introducing a new way of interacting, a new way of seizing the leadership that Kenya is going to get. And finally, this process can lead to a very united nation. And I want to take this early opportunity to tell other stakeholders in this country, whether they are at the coast, whether they are in Western Kenya, whether they are in the Rift Valley, whether they are in Eastern Kenya, whether they are in Northern Kenya, let us borrow a leaf from the Mount Kenya Foundation in ensuring that there is proper dialogue without stone throwing, without jeering, but people listening to what others have to say. We want Kenyans to be persuaded by logic and not by the might of the gun or by the might of the stone. This is what we are looking for. As we move to the end of Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure, we must ask ourselves a few fundamental questions. Who can you trust? Who can you trust? And I repeat, who can you trust with the leadership of this country? Examine us. How many of us respect the rule of law? How many of us will make sure that if Munga has won his election, we shall respect the will of the people? We must ask ourselves, who can you trust that given a position of authority, that individual, he or she, will not in any way misuse the office to visit hell and trouble on other Kenyans because they believe there's a grudge to settle. These are the questions that Kenyans want answered. And they cannot be answered if everybody is not being given space to communicate and articulate their ideas. So I stand here, and the first message is that let us not vote in fear. Whether it is for or against, let us develop a culture where we shall not vote in fear. If we respect constitutionalism, if we respect the rule of law, then nobody has anything to fear. And I want to guarantee to you that the leadership you are seeing in this room does not elicit fear on anybody. And we are not here to sell fear. So we must ask ourselves, what are the real challenges facing us? What are the real challenges facing us? My colleagues have spoken to some of them. But basically, right now, as we move forward, the economy is going to be a big challenge. And I've been speaking to this severally. Do we have a huge public debt? If there's anybody here who does not believe that we have a big public debt, then I don't know where you're living. We have it. So let's work together, put good leadership, and find a solution to that public debt. If we do not, it will consume us. That is why taxes are there, and they're increasing at a higher level. Because the burden is big. Munga might now have to shed off some of his staff. Ibui may have to do the same. And indeed, COVID accelerated a lot of problems. Almost 2 million Kenyans lost their jobs. What do we do to give energy to Munga to bring back the ones he had to send home? Or Ibui, and at the same time give him energy to employ even more? That is where we should be looking. The linkage between Mount Kenya Foundation, and I want to speak to this, the linkage between Mount Kenya Foundation and the other people, we should find a way of bridging this gap. Because there are almost 20 million small and medium enterprises in this country. Those are the juakalis, those are the small traders. Why do they feel they want to resent us? Or they want to resent Mount Kenya Foundation when you should not be resented? It is because somewhere along the line, and the truth be told, some policies have been put in place and they have injured those people, and they tend to look at Mount Kenya as the ones who have hit them. If the Gikomba trader, through the spirit of Harambee or cooperation, were sharing a container under the principle of the less than container load arrangement, and we sit at the treasury and we put a law that says they cannot cooperate, they can only bring in one container, if not, they are not in business. Gentlemen, who is creating resentment? Why are we setting up some of our people against other hard-working Kenyans. We should not allow this to happen. And that is what One Kenya stands for. We must embrace the big industrialist and also embrace the small business person. We must work together so that the pride of Mount Kenya can come back. And what pride am I talking about? Because their pride is Kenya's pride. When a farmer would pay school fees for the child, son or daughter, anaenda kusoma, analipa kwa sababu amepata pesa ya kutosha kutoka maziwa, pesa za kutosha kutoka majani chai, pesa za kutosha kwa kahawa, analipa, and that farmer would be proud and say, mimi nimesomesha mtoto wangu bila basari. Can you imagine that dignity? Mimi nimesomesha mtoto wangu bila basari. Right now there are legislators here, and you must ask them just one question. If you were to put a benchmark, wouldn't it be interesting to say that this year I had a queue of 100 applicants for bursary, but because the economy has improved, now I have received only 50 applicants. Which means you are reducing the queue of those who are dependent. That is where we should be going. What can we do collectively? Borrowing from Equity Bank and others. What can we do to make sure that businessman in Kikomba, in Nyeri, in Meru, can have access to credit at a low interest rate so that they can feed themselves? This is the connection that seems to be missing between us and the ground today. This is why somebody is finding fertile ground to give a false impression that they have instant coffee solutions for those Kenyans who are suffering. The reality is, he does not have instant coffee solutions. They're not there. So we have to work. Kibaki said, we want a working nation. And he also said, obey the law. Whenever he was supposed to make a speech, and I remember that one, it was basically a one-liner speech when people were not obeying the law. Kibaki just sent a message and said, obey the law. And it was a headline. Full stop. I want to do something a little bit extraordinary here. Forgive me for this. But I want to request Gibson Gidumbi, if you could just come here. He's a member of the Mount Kenya Foundation. Because I want us to debunk the message that the Mount Kenya Foundation I was his junior, his rebel. Others call him Mono, depending on which school you are in. But why have I brought him here? And listen to me carefully. Because, and bear with me, because it's a very important message for Kenya. Gibson's father had a kiosk at Westlands on Muthithi Road. And my father was also staying in Westlands. The kiosk is the one that educated Gibson. In Nairobi school, and for as long as I can remember, from that kiosk, Gibson was never sent away because his father had failed to pay school fees. Right now, Gibson is a big Ongata. This is him. We can work hard. What we want to achieve is not a hustling nation. This is what we want to achieve. Whether it is tea, whether it is coffee, whether it is milk. Our teachers are paid and we give them the necessary support. At the end of the day, the theme is peace and unity. To achieve growth, you need peace. To have a working economy for everybody, yani uchumi bora na pesa mfukoni, we need peace. However, to sustain the peace, you also need a working economy. They underpin each other. So for us to have peace, let us create jobs for people. For us to have peace, let the boda get the right return from his work. This is what we are going to do. Let everybody get what is rightfully theirs. I had Mugo, who we were in Laikipia with Twitter. He made a point. We want peace. I was in Baruch, in Nakuru, in a village on the hill. Actually, it's an IDP camp. Only 2 weeks ago. After the conflict, 13 years later, not everybody has gone back to their shamba. I came across ladies who are asking me, we don't know who even picks our tea in Baruch. And there are similar cases of this nature. We must have a clear agenda to make sure that we can restore hope in the lives of these people. These, ladies and gentlemen, are the messages that we want to put across. Let us eliminate violence at election time. And Weta was right. It is true. Through the Kofi Annan talks, I would say that you people of Mount Kenya, you have a solid lady in Martha Karua. Because as I was team leader on the other side, she was team leader on the other, and you guys, she's a tough negotiator. She doesn't blink. We want leaders that will not blink. We want leaders that will work with integrity. If Mount Kenya is as populous as we know it is, when it is resource allocation, let the resource allocation reflect that population. Let it reflect it. And equally, if there are challenges in other parts of the country, let us also find a way of compensating those extra challenges that may be in other parts of the country, so that everybody gets a fair chance. Let us make our judiciary work. Let justice be delivered on time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what One Kenya stands for. This is what we stand for. In 1982, there was the coup attempt. And some of us, at least I was one of them, we were rounded up. In a very strange way. A white Land Rover drove to Mululu at my mother's home. And in that Land Rover, there were about 5 well-fed men, hefty ones, who came in and they told my mother, "We want your son. He's actually a very good boy." This was at the university. And we'll bring him back. These guys took me away, and my mother never saw me for another 2 weeks. But I'm revisiting this because it is important that Kenyans also know that when there was that crisis, for 1 week before I found myself in Mululu, when my uncles were scared of taking me in because my father was in Mexico on duty, they were saying, just try and find your own way out. I actually went, through courtesy of a friend of mine who I went to school with, called Mukundi Wahome from Odhaya, and his father, Jindio Ngatia Wahome, allowed me to stay in his house for 1 whole week in hibernation. That tells you that never go ethnic, never profile ethnically, because I was saved and hidden by somebody from Mount Kenya in Othaya when the chips were down and my own uncles were hiding. The message here is that we are one people. Let us hold hands and pull each other together. Let us change Kenya together. You cannot second guess Uhuru on matters of infrastructure in this country. You can't. He has done an extraordinary job. However, when I was in Meru, my Meru friends told me, when you go back to Nairobi and you have a chance to talk to Uhuru, tell him we are a little bit disturbed because the Mau Mau roads have not yet been completed on this side of Meru, but they are moving very well on the other side. And the Meru, our eastern side, also fought for independence as Mau Mau. So basically, Rome cannot be built in a day. But here was a message that people are yearning for more development. Let us make Kenya stable so that we can also complete the Mau Mau roads on the other side of the mountain. And also roads in other parts of the country. The lady said, water is life. In fact, if I recollect, I think it was a message written by Jomo Kenyatta somewhere, that water is life. Let us also remind Kenyans that his or her vote is also life. We have reached a stage where the vote is also life. Siasa mbaya, Gideon, I know you have the rights to that one. Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. So let us move. My final message to the young people. I'll request, with your indulgence, that just 2 young people come here. One is called Kamau Ikuru, and the other is Mungare. It will come. Let me say this, because there was even a young girl who said that she had not found a partner yet. Maybe I've brought 2 partners here very close to you. Okay, why do I bring these 2 young men here? Because I want to send a very clear message that we as elders, and I'm talking as an elder in their context, not in the context of our PC or Munga, but in the context of these young men. Why I am bringing them here is because our experience should not be used to suppress the youth. We should not constantly remind the youth that wewe ni kijana, wewe ni mtoto. No. Let us bring them into the fold. Gikuru here is the Secretary General of ANC party. He is from Murang'a. This other gentleman, Mungare, is from Nyamira, Kisii. He is head of ICT and digitization matters in the party. If you want to work with the youth, give them responsibility. Let us not pontificate and keep on saying your time is tomorrow. No, their time is now. Thank you. So, in conclusion, I repeat to the Mount Kenya Foundation, when you go home, ask yourself, who can you trust? Who can you trust? When you sleep, who can you trust? If you are a businessman in Nairobi and you are a landlord, how do you feel when your houses have been occupied and you have never gotten restitution for those houses? These are the questions. Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? God bless Mount Kenya Foundation, and let us work together.
Kenya tuike mutongoria witu Kenya yothe riu theri ni muneku munavandia tuike mutongoria witu ANC ithe turenda thayu.
All right. Let's wind up. Before I give up the microphone, may I just recorrect on two issues after all that. Two issues. One of them is, why is Mount Kenya agitated? Mount Kenya is agitated, Cyrus Jirongo, because we are not going to field our own candidate. And we know we are exposed for reasons we have given. Number two, I want to tell you, we have done statistics. The economy of Rwanda, Burundi, and Southern Sudan cannot match the economy of Mount Kenya region. And yet, we the governors of Mount Kenya, the 11 governors, we cannot be able to give our kids, brilliant university kids, more than 10,000 from bursary, because we are not getting our fair share. When Ram is giving 100,000, Wambara is giving 10,000 or 5,000. That cannot continue. That's why we are afraid. Number two, this beautiful lady we are hearing is not worried. Getting more warriors, uniting. Because the love we are talking about, Senator Gideon, si ile love ya mapenzi, ni ile love God they love. Ile Jesus was preaching. Love your neighbor. We have a lot of love, and we just want more and more of you to unite so that we are assured of our future. We have not changed our boundaries in Mount Kenya region for the last 25 years. Please promise us, if you get these positions, within 100 days, you'll just make sure that happens. Mwisho kabisa. It is the issue of one man, one sharing, 1/4. One person, 1/4, one sharing. Asanteni sana, Bwana Imbwe, endelea.
Thank you so much, Governor of Embu. I want to thank, our chief guests, the 5 of you, for what you have done and told us. You have more than met our expectation. We'll take up some of your counsel that we promise. We'll take that as a good critique and a calling for this country, for all of us. I just want to say 2 things. One, the Mount Kenya people know the responsibilities, as Bwana Gideon Moi said. But we also know 2 other responsibilities besides what you told us. One, as Mount Kenya people, we know we'll give direction to the country as far as our political direction is concerned. That's a responsibility we will not want to abdicate. 2, as ourselves, as Mount Kenya people, wherever we live, wherever we go, we give dignity to our differences. Whether you are Muslim, we respect you, because we also expect you to respect us as a Christian or as an atheist. Whether you are white or black, we don't care, we respect our differences. We give our differences the dignity that it deserves. That's why we're able to live we live anywhere in the corner of this world. My last remark, I think after this, I ask the directors of Mount Kenya to come out there and have a photo with the 5 principles together. Then I'll call Mheshimiwa Honorable Marende to come and give a vote of thanks, because we are the people who invited them. They are the ones to give us thanks. But before that, most of you would be wondering, then where are we going to from here? And let me articulate where we are going to from here. We've listened to you. 2 weeks ago, we listened to Raila Amolo Odinga in the same room. We have heard you. We have not yet chosen a preferred candidate. As Mount Kenya Foundation, as Mount Kenya people, we have no preferred candidate. What we have done with these two events is to ask you as OKA team, get out into the Mount Kenya. We have given you the key to walk into Mount Kenya and they preach your gospel, preach your policies. Some of them you have articulated there, and then you convince the people. The process we follow as the people in this region to make a decision. Once you talk to them, or once you talk to us, we will deliberate and we will go to Limuru 3 as a community of Gema Nation. We will go to Limuru 3 and make a decision who we are going to support as a community. That is our process that we are going to follow. Don't get out and sell your policies. So to us, we only ask you one thing as OKA team. We ask you only one thing: respect our president. If you don't respect our president, you call him names, you say what? No, Mount Kenya people will not be with you. Uhuru to us is more than a Linda. He is a Mudhamaki. And it's important you as OKA team, you realize that. Respect our president. With this, I want to say thank you all for coming, and thank you for the wise ones that you have given to us. We have taken note and we move forward. So before I call Honorable Marende, I want to call the Mount Kenya Foundation and the 5 principals to come over here for a photo. Only those people, the principals plus the directors of Mount Kenya Foundation. So, thank you very much, Mheshimiwa Marende. Let's sit down briefly for, a vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, please hear me. Order, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Please hear me. Please hear me. Shall we all kindly be seated? Please.